And with that, we have a presentation.
Yes, a presentation proclaiming American Legion Day in Clackamas County. Commissioner Humberston will present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Administrator. Proclaiming American Legion Day in Clackamas County. Before I start, I think maybe one of our guests would like to speak. Would that be acceptable, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Thank you. Bill?
Give his name for the record.
And we'll need your name for the record.
For the record, my name is Michael Wilson. I'm the commander of Milwaukee American Legion Post 180, located at 2146 Southeast Monroe Street, Milwaukee, Oregon. Chairman Bernard and County Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity to address the board on the American Legion and its 100th anniversary of service to our country. The American Legion has had significant impact on our American society in its 100 years existence. Some examples of this impact include the American Legion was instrumental in the creation of the United States Veterans Bureau, forerunner of the Veterans Administration. The Legion's greatest legislative achievement was the GI Bill. The first draft of this bill was written by a past National American Legion commander, and when enacted, it ushered in monumental changes in United States society. Higher education became economically available to veterans, and 8 million veterans went to school on the GI Bill, thereby getting better jobs, buying houses in the suburbs, and raising the standard of living for their families. For every dollar spent on educating veterans, the United States economy eventually gets back $7. The American Legion Child Welfare Foundation has provided more than $11 million to youth organizations and projects designated to help America's children. The Legion sponsored an independent study on the effects of exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam War veterans. In 1989, Congress received the results of the American Legion Columbia University study of Vietnam-era veterans. The veterans are now getting help for the injuries resulting from exposure to this chemical. The Legion successfully lobbied Congress for a next-generation GI Bill, and the post-9/11 Veterans Education Assistance Act took effect in August of 2009. The bill renewed the federal government's commitment to veterans by providing them with substantially better education, benefits, and provided an unprecedented number of veterans opportunities for advanced education and training. The Legion's existence and purpose is based on 4 pillars or values. The first pillar is Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation. Action on this pillar is accomplished through a nationwide network of trained American Legion service officers who work diligently to assist veterans as they pursue benefits and care they earned and deserve. The American Legion's national security pillar is multifaceted. Key aspects include a well-funded, well-equipped, and well-trained military, awareness and surveillance of rogue nations, terrorist groups, and global threats to U.S. security around the world, and support for the Department of Homeland Security, and urging its steadfast protection of United States borders, ports, and other points of access. Upon the pillar of Americanism, the American Legion's devotion to law and order, the raising of wholesome youth, respectful observance of patriotic holidays and remembrances, quality education, and law-abiding citizenship. The American Legion's 4th pillar deals with children and youth and is guided by 3 main objectives: to strengthen the family unit, to support the quality organizations that provide services for children and youth, and to provide communities with well-rounded programs that meet the physical, educational, emotional, and spiritual needs of young people. The American Legion works to provide hope for children who face health, safety, discipline, or home life challenges, and provides opportunities for young people to succeed. The American Legion, with its 2.7 million members and more than 14,000 posts, has flourished since 1919 because of these pillars, these values. These pillars are us, and we are them. The Legion was founded after the Great War, what is now known as World War I, to provide assistance to veterans and their families in what was thought in 1919 to be our last war. There are no more veterans from World War I with us today, and I believe that was the hope in 1919 that there would be no need for the American Legion today. That is not the case. Today, as the number of discharged veterans from the global war on terrorism has surpassed 500,000, the Legion's federally chartered role to support them could not be more profound. The Legion strongly believes that a veteran is a veteran, no matter the war era or the nature or location of his or her service. In that regard, the American Legion is the only organization that works on behalf of all 25 million United States veterans and all those who will eventually follow in the armed services of our country. The Milwaukee American Legion Post 180 appreciates your recognition of the American Legion and its service to our county, state, and nation. The members of the Milwaukee Post are committed to continue to serve our veterans, our communities, and the citizens of our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Martha, do you mind if we do the proclamation first? Okay. Ken.
Thank you. Proclaiming American Legion Day in Clackamas County. Whereas the American Legion was chartered by Congress in 1919 on September 16th as a wartime veterans organization based on the 4 pillars of Veterans Affairs, Rehabilitation, National Security, Americanism, and Children and Youth. And whereas over the years the American Legion has become a preeminent community service organization, which now numbers more than 2.5 million members, men and women, in over 14,000 American Legion posts worldwide, working a variety of programs that support the 4 pillars and benefit our nation's veterans, its service members, their families, the youth of America, and its citizens. And whereas in Oregon there are over 27,000 members of the American Legion family, including several posts in Clackamas County where members take pride in their work for veterans, children, and the community. And whereas the members of the American Legion are dedicated to upholding the ideals of freedom and democracy while working to make a difference in the lives of fellow Americans. And whereas the 100th observance of American Legion Day provides an opportunity to recognize and congratulate the members of the American Legion in our community. Now, therefore, the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim September 16th as American Legion Day in Clackamas County. We encourage all citizens to join us in celebrating the contributions from the American Legion and acknowledge their 100 years of service. Dated this 19th day of September 2019 by the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Martha?
Yeah, thank you so much for your service and what you do. And, you know, I looked up a little bit of history, even though it's in the Proclamation of the American Legion. And basically, it did strike me that, oh, this was a result of World War I. And last year, during Armistice Day, it was the 100th anniversary of the armistice, the 11th day at the 11th hour, and I was in Vancouver, and in Vancouver in Canada and England. On that day, they always have a moment of silence at that time where people remember. So I thought, oh, okay, the American Legion has got to be a result of that, of armistice and the fact that World War I, we sent our young men and our women over there. And one of the things I just looked up and I found out was that the first post of the American Legion was with General John Pershing, and that was post number 1 in Washington, D.C., and he was one of the great generals of the Great War, John Joseph Pershing. So thank you for coming. You're 100 years and hopefully another 100 years and more to come with the kind of service you provide for our military folks. Okay?
So I believe a photo, right? Please stay up here and we'll, or all of you, come on up.
Have you voted to accept?
Photo.
Have you voted yet?
Pardon?
Did you vote to accept the proclamation?
That is kind of necessary. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we proclaim American Legion Day in Clackamas County as September 16th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we proclaim American Legion Day in Clackamas County as September 16th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Please join us for a photo.